Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to hand weave a Bentwood chair seat. So this Bentwood chair seat is already been cleaned out, as you can see, so all the holes are nice and clean. I've kept the seat on the frame, it's a little bit easier to do. Firstly, you're going to need to select and purchase some good quality chair cane. This particular seat requires 2.5 mil. Get some golf tees, that's good to secure the weave as you're weaving away. And a couple of tools are quite helpful, a little pair of pliers, and also I have a little old screwdriver with a very flat end, which is assisting you to bring the cane up through some of the very difficult parts. First of all, you're going to need to make sure that the cane is set straight to the front and back legs. So as you can see here, I've put a golf tee in the back just to hold that in, and so stage one would be from front to back of the seat and keeping the nice parallel lines, and you just keep on doing this until you come to near the end, of course, and you will see in a minute how we set that up. So we continue on towards the right side of the Bentwood chair seat, and as you can see, as it gets closer to the edge, some of the holes don't quite marry up. You cannot actually weave each cane into the next hole, otherwise it gets too close together, so you're going to have to miss a hole, and then, as you can see here, and then put a strand in sort of parallel to the other one. Use your own discretion and common sense. It can vary a little bit from chair seat to chair seat, but you just really want to try and keep nice parallel distances, or keep the distances the same and parallel lines when we start doing stage 4. So we continue on doing stage 1, and we're going over to the from center to the left side of the seat, and you can see here there's a fairly big gap there. It's only because some of the holes are really not drilled correctly in this particular seat, but that will work out quite well once we finish off the stage 4. Now we're going to start on stage 2, which is obviously going in the opposite direction to stage 1 on the top of the seat. So you just go weaving straight over the top, underneath the next hole, and then come up, and of course weave straight over the top of stage 1. Continue on doing this, exactly the same process effectively as stage 1, and until you complete this stage. Okay, now we're carrying on with stage 3, which is exactly the same stage as 1, and we're going straight over the top. Continue that on, see from the yellow down to the front here, pass the cane up underneath, you know the way to go, and just keep on going right across the top of the seat with stage 3 until you come to the end, and then we'll be starting stage 4. You see there's a slight gap there. Not much we can do about that because the parallel lines don't really run too well that in this particular chair. There's a hole missing, or the hole is made a little bit too close to one of the other holes where that blue golf tee is. So yeah, continue on here with stage 3. It gets a little bit awkward in some cases because you're sort of trying to visualize what it's going to look like in the end, but as you can see now we're going on to stage 4. This is a slightly different process now. You're going to have to sort of go under, over. This time it's the first part of the weaving, and so I've started over in the far corner here just to try and get the sort of difficult part. That's where the screwdriver can come in handy to weave this. I'm holding the camera and weaving with one hand, which is a little bit difficult, but as you can see, by not having the camera in the hand, you can use 2 fingers, one underneath the frame, helping you assist the cane up through the holes, and just pull it bit by bit. You can see here it's a little bit tricky with one hand. What I normally do is just turn up the cane a little bit, which makes it easier to weave through, and just gently Do say 3 or 4 strands at a time, or under over and under over, and carefully pull it through so it just goes taut, and you find that you get the knack of this in no time at all. And as you can see, stage 4 is looking quite impressive now. Just keep an eye on it, try and create nice little small squares, you can see there, and continue on with this as much as you possibly can. Here's a tip I've got to give you though. When you start weaving from stage 4 onwards, if you get the piece of rattan that you're weaving with and have a good close look at it, you notice that there's little nodes or barb. You can see it's slightly raised here where the leaves come out. So if you can put your nail on top of it, you see it's a little bit difficult and hard to weave through one direction because it's going to catch on the cane. So if you're running your finger along the top or your nail and it's nice and smooth, like my fingers are pointing in that direction is the way you should weave it, then you find you're going to have a lot easier method of weaving the cane through. It's going to slide through nice and easy without any of those nodes catching on the cane and causing all sorts of headaches and possibly snapping the cane. So continue on weaving as best you can, making sure those squares stay nice and sort of tight as possible. You don't need to pull the cane too tight. When you're doing this sort of weaving, obviously you're only going to go under, over and under, over, say maybe 5, 6, 7 times, and then pull it taut and then continue on. Don't try and do the whole length under, over with one go, because you find that it's going to make it a little bit hard to pull the cane through. It looks a bit uneven here, as you can see, a little bit messy, but don't worry too much. What we're going to do is straighten all it up in a minute, and that's where the tweezers come in handy. Canes like that, just carefully just squeeze them together until you form a nice tight square. So it takes a bit of time. You can do this as you're going along if you wish to, but I normally do it once I've finished stage 4, and then turn the seat around and do the same thing and keep going. I'm sort of just showing you what I do, but effectively I do every single row until it's nice and neat, or neat as possible, before you start commencing doing the diagonals. So bear that in mind. The tip is make sure that cane is running nice and smooth. There you can see it's a little bit tighter, and still, you know, not coming together yet, but that's stage 4 complete. And now we're going to do the diagonals. You should start off anywhere you like really, but I normally start on right here on the far, or sort of bottom left hand corner. When you have a square seat, you need to certainly start on the corners first. That's a lot easier way to work your way through. In this process you need to, as you can see here, go under the horizontal row there, and then over the vertical holes, if you want to call it that, and continue on with that method. If you do weave the other direction, you find it's going to sort of zigzag. It will not run smoothly, so you want to try and just do 1 or 2 strands like that, and you can see when I'm pulling it through, it's pulling and gliding through nice and easy. If you're getting like a zigzag kind of shape, you're going the wrong way, meaning that you're going sort of over that horizontal and under the vertical line. So make sure you get that bit going well, and then you just continue on, as you can see here, right across, possibly going through say 3 or 4 rows at a time, and just put it carefully, don't rush it, and you find that it's all going to start coming together as you continue on weaving this. I think the beauty of hand caning is that you can sort of do a couple of hours a night if you wish to. You don't need to process or proceed and do the whole thing in one go. So it's a bit of a hobby, enjoy it. It's relaxing, put some nice music on, get a glass of red or 2, and just weave along, take your time, and don't rush it, because otherwise you could end up missing a couple of strands, or do something a bit awkward. So best to just take your time and enjoy the process. You'll find you get a lot more enjoyment out of it that way. And as you, so in this particular case, you can see on the video clip, sometimes you're going to have to use the same hole that where the diagonal comes in, so you just share that hole. You really, like you can see here, it's just pulling it down through there, so we're sharing that same hole there. You get that from time to time, so just make sure you keep the same process. You can see a little bit neater here now that we've done quite a few of the stage 5 this is, so one of the diagonals. Getting closer to the end now. Now we're going to see if we can start on stage 6, which is the last of the diagonals, obviously going the opposite way from stage 5. So where you see stage 5, just do the complete opposite. So where you can see it's over the under that horizontal, you go over that and under the vertical double parallel strands there, as you can see. And once again, if you go the wrong way, it's going to zigzag and it just will not glide through. So make sure you get it right first time. Then as you're going along weaving this stage, you'll find it'll all come together quite neat. Once again, take your time, do 2 or 3 strands at a time. As you can see, I'm doing one-handed, and it's a little bit tricky to try and do it by one hand. But if you have one hand above the seat and one underneath, and just do sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 strands at a time, little under over, you find you get a little bit quicker as you go along, and get a nice neat job. Also concentrate on the sides, as you can see, so don't skip a strand, but you make sure you continue on with the under over situation. So you can see here, even that little strand there, I've gone over there, which is correct, and then it's going to feed down into the hole next to it. So you can see along the side there how some of the holes are sharing the same cane, and that's the way we do. Now we're looking at doing the border, which is the binder cane. So you normally get a cane that's slightly wider than the 2.5 mil. I've got a 4 mil bit of cane here, and generally, depends, it's up to you really, but generally on Bentwoods you normally sort of do the loop cane, bind it over each hole, share each hole. In this case, what I'm doing just for show really is I'm going to weave the locking cane in every second hole. So the hole that's been missed, you tend to get a little bit of cane dowel, a bit of cane reed, suitable size to match in the hole. As you can see here, made a little tiny peg, and you tap that in to secure the cane so it's not going to come out. Once again, as I said before, you only do this really if you want to miss every other hole, and sometimes the holes are very close together, so you don't need that binder cane going in every single hole. In this particular Bentwood chair I could probably do either way, but I've decided just to show the viewers that you can do one hole plugged and the other hole with a binder cane. But it's up to you. In this Bentwood chair really I think I should have gone through every single hole, but it looks quite neat. So you can see it's all finished off quite nice, and that's quite self-explanatory how it's done. At the back where I started, I put a little bit of PVA glue and lapped it over, and that's pulled tight now and that's secured. And underneath, as you can see, there's a lot of little ends dangling away there. Some of them you can sort of just tie a loose knot, and the rest of them I just cut off. And if you want to, by all means add a little bit of PVA glue, but it's not really necessary. You find the seat's not going to go anywhere. So there we have it. Easy step-by-step instructions on how to hand weave a Bentwood seat in 7 stages. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to further videos coming our way. Have a great day. Bye for now.